Before a single promise is made, before love is spoken, before two paths ever meet, Allah allows something quieter to happen. He lets two hearts recognize each other. Not loudly, not publicly, but deeply. And most people misunderstand this moment. They think recognition means permission. That feeling means arrival. That certainty means closeness is guaranteed. But recognition is not the reward. It is the test. When Allah aligns two hearts, He does not rush them into comfort. He watches how they behave under pressure, distance, silence, delay, and pain. He observes whether the heart stays clean when emotions rise, whether trust remains firm when answers disappear, and whether faith is protected when desire grows strong. Because what is written is not proven by how deeply you feel, but by how carefully you behave. Some hearts fail the test by rushing. Some fail by clinging. Some fail by compromising their values. But the hearts that pass learn something rare. They learn that what belongs to you will never require you to lose yourself, your dignity, or your connection with Allah. And only after that lesson is learned does Allah decide whether the hearts are brought together or whether peace is given through a different path. Recognition is a trust placed on the heart. When Allah allows one heart to recognize another, He is not opening a door, He is placing a weight. That recognition is not a green signal to move forward, speak freely, or act on emotion. It is a quiet trust given to the heart, asking whether it will remain balanced or become careless. The heart is allowed to feel, but the hands are instructed to pause, because not everything that is meaningful is meant to be touched immediately. This moment reveals the true condition of a person. A mature heart does not panic at strong feelings, and it does not rush to secure what it fears losing. Instead, it slows down and becomes more watchful of itself. It pays attention to its intentions, its limits, and its obedience to Allah. Recognition is meant to awaken awareness, not impulse. It teaches the heart to separate sincerity from desire and patience from fear. If the heart is truly guided, it does not argue with boundaries or look for shortcuts. It understands that what is written by Allah cannot be stolen or missed. There is no need to chase, force clarity, or demand closeness. The heart learns to stay clean while waiting, because integrity matters more than speed. What is truly meant does not require urgency, pressure, or emotional chaos. It requires steadiness, trust, and the ability to carry something precious without mishandling it. In this way, recognition becomes a mirror. It shows whether the heart is strong enough to hold awareness without acting recklessly, and whether it can honor something meaningful without trying to control it. This is why recognition is a trust, not permission. Only a heart that can remain calm, respectful, and obedient in this stage is safe to be entrusted with what may come after. Self-control is tested before any union is allowed. Before Allah brings two hearts together, He looks closely at how each heart behaves on its own. Feelings are not the proof of readiness. Everyone can feel deeply, but very few can remain disciplined when emotions rise. That is why self-control is tested long before any union is allowed. Allah does not unite hearts that collapse under their own emotions, because union requires stability, not intensity. When attraction appears, it immediately creates pressure inside the heart. Thoughts become louder, imagination becomes active, and the desire to move faster than wisdom increases. This is the exact moment where the test begins. A heart with self-control does not let feelings take the lead. It places reason, faith, and obedience in front of emotion. It understands that strong feelings are not instructions. They are responsibilities that must be handled carefully. Self-control shows itself in private choices, not public claims. It is seen in what a person avoids, not in what they pursue. Can the heart lower its gaze when curiosity grows? Can it remain respectful when closeness is tempting? Can it choose patience even when silence feels uncomfortable? These quiet decisions are the true measurements of readiness. Allah values restraint more than expression because restraint protects what is sacred. Union is not delayed to punish desire, but to confirm discipline. If a heart cannot govern itself when nothing is guaranteed, it will not suddenly become wise once everything is given. That is why Allah tests control before connection. He wants to see whether a person can carry love without letting it become disobedience, and whether emotions can exist without ruling the soul. In this stage, self-control refines the heart. It teaches balance, humility, and reliance on Allah rather than on outcomes. When a heart passes this test, it becomes safe for union, not because it feels less, but because it knows how to hold what it feels without losing itself. Distance is used to remove illusion from the heart. When Allah places distance between two hearts, it is rarely because something is wrong. More often, it is because something needs to be revealed. Distance has a way of stripping away comfort and exposing what the heart has been hiding from itself. When closeness is removed, the heart can no longer rely on presence, conversation, or reassurance. It is left alone with its intentions, and in that space, illusion either dissolves or hardens. At first, distance feels confusing. The mind begins to romanticize what is missing, turning absence into perfection. This is why Allah allows time and space, so fantasy can run out of fuel. Without constant interaction, the heart is forced to ask honest questions. Does it miss the person, or does it miss how the person made it feel? Does it seek partnership, or is it simply trying to escape loneliness, boredom, or emotional emptiness? Distance also reveals whether the heart is sincere or dependent. A sincere heart remains respectful and patient, even when it aches. It does not try to close the gap through impatience or pressure. A dependent heart, however, grows restless. It begins to panic, overthink, and crave control. Allah uses distance to protect the heart from confusing attachment with destiny. In separation, the heart learns to breathe without leaning. It learns whether its peace comes from Allah or from proximity to another human being. If peace collapses the moment distance appears, then closeness would have become a crutch, not a blessing. Allah removes access so the heart can learn balance before connection. Distance also matures in tension. What is shallow fades with time. What is sincere survives quietly. When illusion falls away, only what is real remains. This is why distance is not meant to break aligned hearts, but to purify them. It ensures that when closeness returns, it is built on clarity rather than fantasy, and on truth rather than emotional hunger. Silence exposes where trust is placed. When Allah introduces silence between two hearts, it is one of the most difficult tests, because silence removes what the heart depends on most: reassurance. Words calm the mind, explanations reduce fear, and clarity gives a sense of control. When all of that is taken away, the heart is left with only one question, even if it does not realize it at first. Where do I place my trust when I do not understand what is happening. Silence does not mean Allah has stepped away. It means He is watching more closely. In silence, there are no signals to hold on to, no messages to analyze, no tone of voice to interpret. The heart can no longer lean on emotional certainty. It must decide whether it will rely on Allah or spiral into anxiety. This is where true trust is exposed, not through words or claims, but through patience and composure. A heart that truly trusts Allah learns to remain steady, even without answers. It does not rush to fill the silence with assumptions or desperate actions. It understands that what is written cannot be damaged by quiet moments. This kind of heart waits without losing dignity, because it believes that Allah sees what it cannot see and is arranging what it cannot control. On the other hand, a heart that has placed its trust in outcomes rather than in Allah becomes restless in silence. It begins to overthink, fear loss, and search for ways to regain control. Silence exposes this dependence, not to shame the heart, but to correct it. Allah allows quiet so the heart can hear its own weaknesses and learn where it has relied too much on creation. Through silence, the heart is taught a deeper form of Tawakkul, one that does not need constant confirmation. It learns that trust is not feeling calm only when things make sense, but remaining grounded when they do not. Silence becomes the space where faith matures, where reliance shifts from people to Allah, and where the heart is strengthened for whatever outcome He has written. Delay is meant to break emotional dependence. When Allah delays what the heart wants, it is not because He is withholding goodness. Delay is one of the most careful forms of mercy, especially when emotions are involved. If something arrives while the heart is leaning too heavily on it, that thing will become a source of imbalance instead of peace. This is why delay is used to break emotional dependence before it turns into emotional harm. Emotional dependence is subtle. It begins when peace becomes linked to another person's presence, attention, or response. Slowly, the heart stops standing on its own and starts leaning for stability. Allah sees this shift before the person does, so He pauses the situation, not to take it away, but to restore the heart's balance. The heart must learn to breathe, function, and feel whole without constant emotional supply. Delay forces the heart to return to itself and to Allah. It removes the emotional support that was quietly becoming a crutch. In that space, the heart learns an important lesson. No human being is meant to carry the weight of another person's peace. That role belongs to Allah alone. When peace depends on someone else, love turns into pressure, and attachment replaces trust. This waiting period reshapes the heart. It teaches patience without resentment and hope without obsession. The heart learns to sit with uncertainty without trying to control the future. It becomes calmer, more grounded, and more aware of its own strength. What once felt like emptiness slowly becomes clarity. Allah delays union until the heart can remain steady, whether the person is near or far. Only then can love exist without fear of loss, and connection exist without neediness. When emotional dependence is broken, the heart becomes safe again, and whatever Allah chooses to give after that arrives as a gift, not a necessity. Pain reveals the heart's true center. Pain is never random when Allah is involved. When it appears during alignment, it is not a sign that something has gone wrong, but a signal that something important is being exposed. Pain presses on the heart until its true center is revealed. Under comfort, the heart can pretend. Under pain, it cannot hide. What the heart clings to in difficulty shows where it truly rests. When pain enters, two different reactions appear. One heart becomes quieter and more reflective, turning inward and upward toward Allah. The other becomes restless, desperate, and consumed by fear of loss. The difference is not in the pain itself, but in the foundation beneath it. A heart centered on Allah uses pain as a reminder to return, to pray more sincerely, and to surrender more deeply. A heart centered on outcome uses pain as a reason to panic and grasp for control. Allah allows pain to correct direction. It slows the heart down and forces it to examine its attachments. If the heart breaks because a person is absent, it reveals that the person had become a source of stability rather than a companion. Pain shows where reliance has shifted, and Allah uses that awareness to restore balance. This kind of pain is not meant to destroy hope, but to realign trust. Through pain, the heart learns humility. It learns that strength does not come from certainty, but from reliance on Allah when certainty disappears. The heart that grows calmer under pressure is being refined. It is learning that peace is not the absence of difficulty, but the presence of Allah in difficulty. In this way, pain becomes a teacher. It reveals whether the heart is anchored in faith or floating in attachment. And when the heart allows pain to guide it back to Allah instead of away from Him, it emerges steadier, wiser, and ready for whatever outcome He has written. What is written never requires you to betray your values. One of the clearest signs of something being written by Allah is that it does not pull a person away from their values. What comes from Allah protects character rather than slowly eroding it. No matter how strong a feeling is, no matter how deep the connection seems, anything that pressures the heart to lie, hide, rush, or compromise obedience is not alignment. Allah does not guide someone toward disobedience in order to reach a blessing. When emotions are involved, the heart often tries to justify small compromises. It tells itself that this situation is different, that intentions are good, and that the outcome will make everything worth it. But Allah does not need shortcuts to deliver what He has written. If something truly belongs to you, it will arrive without costing you your principles. If it requires you to step outside your values to hold on to it, then it was never meant to stay. What is written by Allah preserves dignity. It does not demand secrecy that weakens the soul or impatience that damages faith. It does not turn a person into someone they do not recognize. Instead, it strengthens honesty, patience, and self-respect. Even in difficulty, it allows a person to remain whole. This lesson protects the heart from confusion. It draws a clear line between emotional intensity and divine alignment. Strong feelings can exist without being approved by Allah. Alignment, however, always carries peace, even when it includes hardship. It does not leave a person constantly justifying their actions or feeling unsettled in their conscience. When the heart understands this, it stops fearing loss through obedience. It realizes that obedience never causes true loss. Anything removed because you chose your values was not written to remain. And anything that is written will arrive in a way that keeps your faith intact. This understanding brings clarity, confidence, and relief because the heart no longer feels pressured to protect what Allah is fully capable of delivering on His own. Union comes only after the heart releases control. The final test of aligned hearts is not patience, distance, or pain. It is control. As long as the heart insists on knowing when, how, and through which path something must happen, it is not ready to receive it. Control creates tension inside the soul because it places responsibility on the heart that was never meant to carry it. Allah waits until the heart loosens its grip before He opens the door. Releasing control does not mean losing hope or becoming passive. It means trusting Allah enough to stop managing outcomes. The heart learns to say, "If this is written, it will reach me without force," and truly believe it. This shift is subtle but powerful. Anxiety softens, overthinking quiets, and the heart becomes lighter. That lightness is readiness. Many hearts delay their own peace by clinging to timelines and explanations. They replay conversations, imagine futures, and try to predict endings. Allah allows this struggle to continue until the heart realizes that none of this changes what is written. When the heart finally lets go, it is not giving up love. It is placing love back in the hands of Allah. At this stage, something important happens. The heart becomes content regardless of outcome. Whether union happens or redirection arrives, the heart remains steady. This is why surrender comes before reward. Allah does not give union to a heart that would be destroyed by either outcome. He gives it to a heart that can remain whole. When control is released, union arrives without chaos, fear, or desperation. And if union is not written, peace arrives instead. In both cases, the heart wins. Because the true success was never the outcome itself, but the state of the heart that learned to trust Allah completely. In the end, the real story was never about two hearts meeting. It was about one heart learning how to stand correctly before Allah. Recognition, distance, silence, delay, and pain were never obstacles. They were the training. Allah was shaping the heart so that love would not replace faith, and attachment would not weaken trust. If the hearts are united, they come together without fear, without desperation, and without losing themselves. And if they are not, the heart still walks away whole, protected and closer to Allah than before. That is not loss. That is success. Because when Allah aligns two hearts, He tests them first. And when the heart passes, the reward is never just union. The reward is peace, clarity, and a heart that now knows how to trust Allah completely.